You know how there's a lot of crap online, a lot of filler, a lot of repetition, a lot of uninspired content. So when YouTube recommends something to me, I'm pretty skeptical and usually disappointed. Today's guest broke that cycle for me with comedy series featuring quick, smart writing and characters you simultaneously want to give a hug to and push off a cliff. He's that rare breed of professional and uber talented. I'm Patrick Marano, and this is Queerly Us. Before we begin, if you enjoy this content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you do not miss an episode. Raised in Diamond Bar, California, my guest today is that guy who played that part on that episode of shows like Modern Family to Grey's Anatomy, with recurring roles on series like General Hospital. As a content creator, he is best known as the writer, director, editor, and star of the hugely popular comedy series Bad Boy. He recently completed the first season of his original sketch comedy shorts series, Sorry, I'm Weird. He is also the co-creator and co-star of the short form comedy series, Successful People. Please welcome to the show, Artie O'Daly.
Patrick, thank you so much for having me. I'm going to play that all on a loop, I think, as I go to sleep tonight.
Yeah.
Because that was just such like bliss to hear such kind words. So thank you.
They're the words that you fed me, quite frankly.
Well, before that, before the opener.
Oh, yes. Well, that is truly how I feel. It's such an honor to have you here. And everything I said just came from the heart, to be honest.
Thank you. I love that. I love that you thought I was so impressed by the bio reading. I'm like, wow, that's a hell of a bio. I wonder who wrote that.
I was like, you did. So I want to say, first of all, congratulations on all your success, all of your projects, everything that you're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm so in awe of it. And I'm excited to share with my audience, the people that don't know you already, to introduce you to them. So thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me. As I mentioned to you, I was already aware of your content and your social profile on YouTube and such. So I'm thrilled to get to intersect our audiences and talents.
Are we intersecting right now?
I think we are right here in front of everybody.
Oh my God. I'm due for a little intersecting. So
yeah.
I was shocked that, well, not shocked, but I was pleasantly surprised, I guess is maybe the term, that you had seen my content, because it's niche and it's a certain lane.
Yeah.
But I get straight women that see my content and stuff because they're looking for different things online, and the algorithms pull different words and stuff. So
they do, but it's also in line of what you were saying at the very beginning, where like if something it's a sea of crap, to be blunt, on the internet and on YouTube. So when somebody excels or is better than average, typically I think people notice it and share it and watch it to the end, and then YouTube starts to recommend it. So you're very good at what you do. Your speaking voice is just the best thing I've ever heard. So it's no surprise to me that you are also finding your own audience online.
Artie, intersect me.
Happy to do it.
Intersect me. I'm not going to ask your real age right now, Daddy Scott. Okay. But I mean, we're around the same age-ish. So I know for me, I think so. I'm 47.
Oh, no, then I'm 48.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
So growing up, not a lot of queer representation in TV and in movies and stuff. I feel there's a lot out there now, but I feel there's kind of like two categories. There's drag queens and there's sex. Like those are the two main categories of gay content. So it's so refreshing to watch something like you have elements of that. I mean, there's sexy things and queening out and stuff. But I mean, but it's like, this is real. This is like comedy. It's writing, it's directing, it's editing. So it's refreshing to get a different angle to the whole queer content thing. My question is, here it comes. Queer audience, gay men, gays, queer audiences, the community, they can be tough. I feel like they can be judgmental. They can be tough. We're tough on our own a lot of times. And I wanted to ask you, is it difficult? Do you find it difficult to create content for the community? Have you gotten, what kind of feedback do you have?
Well, obviously the audience is primarily gay men. At least that's who comments and responds. So I'm assuming that's what the audience is, which makes sense. So the fact that they have been very vocal or supportive, or I don't know, they've been very loyal to the show for a long time, Bad Boy specifically. So with these people that I actually interact with, or I know, I feel like I have no trouble keeping them as an audience because they've proven to be a good audience. But in general, I do find like the random commenter, the random viewer, they do want more like naked guys, or like it to be like the cliche gay thing. And I'm like, that's not what I'm trying to make. But I think it just might be men in general. Like straight men just want to see like boobs, and like gay men just want to see, you know, pecs and butts and who knows what. So I don't think it's necessarily a gay thing specifically, but because I am gay and the show features gay men, you're going to get a male audience, and then they're going to want it to be a little more sexualized. But yeah, it's a line I have to walk delicately, because I don't want to be the cliche gay web series. I don't even consider my show a gay web series. I consider it a series that has gay characters. It's a delineation that's not that strong, but to me, it's different in how I approach what I'm making.
No, I think that's absolutely. I'm sure you must have a lot of women fans, especially.
There are some, yeah.
There must. I've got women watching my channel. I'm talking about cruising and bathhouses. So, like, you know what I mean? It's like.
Well, I think some women love it because they can. Not only are they fascinated by like the gay culture, but also I don't know if straight men talk about sex openly to women. So I think it's sort of refreshing to just hear guys be very open with their sexuality. That's what I'm assuming, at least.
We are that.
Yeah. And also there is the quote unquote safe space about it. Like it's about men being attracted to men. So women can come into the room and not feel they're going to be the ones that are hypersexualized or anything like that. So that might be part of it. But yeah, there are women fans that I have of the show, and yeah, I love them.
I love that you're getting this great feedback. I guess when I wrote that question, I was thinking of things like, what's that? The Real Housewives. You know, there's the Housewives franchise, but then there was the gay version, the Real
Friends of West Hollywood or something like that.
Yeah, and that was just like I didn't even watch. Yeah, so that was just destroyed. Yeah. By critics and stuff. And I find a lot of gay movies that come out are judged really harshly, and I feel bad, but you know, I feel like, oh, let's give people a chance. You know, they don't have the big budgets that the other ones have, and they're trying to do creative things and different things. Like, let's not tear each other down. But it's good to hear that that's not happening for you.
I see what you're saying actually even more now with the question, is that gays typically don't like gay content. They will just immediately either diss it or ignore it altogether.
Yeah. They'll be like, oh, that's not me. That's so cliche. I'm not like that. But then they are exactly like that.
Yeah. But again, to your point, a lot of this stuff isn't that good, or like, you know, it all comes down to the story and the plotting, and do we actually relate to the characters, and is it something new and refreshing? Like, we can't just see a bunch of gay guys sitting around a coffee shop without it being something unique, or they can't just be talking about their dating life, you know? Not that they can't, because obviously there's Friends and Sex and the City and what have you, but there has to be some angle to make us be like, okay, they're not pandering to me. They're actually trying to say something different. Right. I don't think there's that much great writing out there to do that, personally.
Well, thank God you're around.
I'm not patting myself. That wasn't meant to pat myself on the back, because also my show isn't about a group of friends sitting around a coffee house. It's, you know,
certainly not.
It's just, anyway, go ahead.
No. So well, what your show does have is maybe what the other ones don't have, which is that writing that you do, which is so ridiculous in the smartest way. I coined this term. I don't know if I've made it up. Verbal slapstick.
You might have made it up. I don't know. It's a good. It fits, I think, what Bad Boy is, if that's what you're applying it to.
I am.
Yeah, verbal slapstick.
Well, it makes sense, right? I'm going to copyright that right now.
Yeah,
it's a thing. Well, between and then the acting, the writing, and then of course the acting that goes with it, which is so important. So I'm curious to know, because everybody on the show is so great and fun to watch.
I agree.
These characters, they're so specific. Are they modeled after people that you actually know in real life?
No.
Okay.
If anyone who's seen the show, because these people are nuts. Like there is no one that I've actually like sat down and been like, okay, I'm going to base this character on this person I knew.
Okay.
That's never happened. There have been times I'll be writing something and then suddenly I'll be like, oh, you know who this actually is? This is such and such person, usually a family member or something, but not an actual like copy and paste situation. No, it's all imagination. And then sometimes I'll also, once I know the actors better, if they do something, I will try to like incorporate their isms in a way. But a lot of time I found it's just kismet where something I've written tends to actually fit the person who's playing the part. I didn't even know, like the backstory will match or some characteristics will match. So I think there's a little magic that's involved when you make a project personally.
Well, there's a lot of magic going on with you, obviously. What's happening in your brain that you create characters like this? I don't understand. So I thought that maybe they were based on people that you a little bit, but then exaggerate. I mean, you have to exaggerate.
Yeah, no, it all comes. It's not at all. First of all, I'm not a trained writer. I work really hard at it. It's very hard. I think writing is hard for basically everybody, but I don't just write the script and it's done. Like I go over it and over and over because I think the script is so important. But when I'm writing something, I might think ahead, like, oh, this character is going to be such and such. Like I'm writing like the assassin character, just the first thing that pops into my head. And I'll just think, okay, I'm going to want these like 3 or 4 details to come up. But then when I'm writing, some joke will happen or some characteristic will happen. I'm like, oh, that's great. That's going to be the thing you're going to follow. And once you know, oh, the character thinks this or always says this thing, like the Lockhart character, the FBI agent, she says whoopsies or change Z's or whatever. I'm like, that's a thing now. So what kind of character always says Z's and why is she like this? And then it grows from there. Yeah. So I don't go in with too much pre-planned for the characters because they do take on a life of their own while you're writing. And I'm sure any writer would say that.
Well, and I find that's what makes a good character too, is that those characterizations where the repetition of that thing that they say, like their catchphrase, or not to like, too much, but just like that is so them, like that is what they would say. And
I think that's the trick to any sort of good sitcom, good writing, is that you see a common trait pop up over and over again. It doesn't even have to inform the story. It's just something they do. Because when you think of your friends, you can probably imitate your friends and you'll think of like the first 3 or 4 things that they always do. Yeah. Like, you'd be like, hey, give me an impression of your best friend. You would know something to do. And that's why you want to feel like you know these people. And every time you watch a new episode, you're like, oh, I'm going to hang out with these friends again.
They're my friends. They're my family.
Yeah.
So then that was kind of my next question. Are they your friends? Were they your friends before, or was there like a casting couch?
The actors, casting couch. There was no casting couch.
Okay.
So, I've met them in various capacities through like plays and acting classes over the years. Okay. They're all my friends, but we're not like a group of friends. We don't like have a group chat or go to movies or anything together like that. The girl who plays Aunt Whitney, her name's Teresa Ryan. She's like one of my best friends. I've known her since college. I made Successful People with her, the other web series you mentioned. Yes. So she's like one of my dear friends. And Alina Bach, who plays the Calista Flockhart character, I consider her one of my good friends. And they're all like people I love. But if you're actually like having to like rank your best friends, I would probably put those at the top. No shade to anyone else because I love them all. But and even like Braden Davis, who plays BJ, I had seen him in a web series called Besties because the guy he made that show with worked on a play I did. And so when I saw that, I was like, oh, that guy is good, and randomly messaged him. And it's like, hey, would you do my web series? So the first time I met him was the day he showed up to do episode 5 of Bad Boy. Like I'd never met him before.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's kind of been the gamut, but I've never put out a casting call or a breakdown and said like, hey, I'm looking for such and such. Because I like to write for the actor more than I like to write and then find an actor, at least in my little, making it in my apartment and all that. I don't have all these resources to go find actors personally.
Well, and you've been doing this for so long. I mean, your network, I guess, just from taking classes and working on projects, and you just meet people along the way, and then you kind of they're in your brain and you think, oh, that guy would be good for that or whatever, right?
Yeah. I think if I didn't love acting and writing so much, I would really love being like an agent or like a casting scout, because I do feel like I think the reason my show is, I personally think my show is good, is not just because I work hard on the scripts, but because those actors are good. And I think if you don't have good actors that have good comedic rhythm or are good on set, you're not going to get a good show. You know, how many times have we watched a movie and been like, why did they cast that person? You know?
My God. Well, so, we know why. It's the name recognition, and then they want the box office dollars or whatever. But you're like, exactly, that was a wrong choice or whatever.
Yes. Yeah. You know? So I think I have an eye for talent that I've met in these capacities, and then
So writing, directing, or acting, you can only choose one to do for the rest of your life. Go.
Acting. 1,000%. I only started writing so I could act more. So I could write.
Oh, okay. Okay. I thought that was going to be a hard question.
No, not hard at all. In fact, I would go acting, editing, because I love editing. Then I would go writing. And I don't consider myself a director, so I'd put directing like down here. I don't really do.
But don't sell yourself short on that one, because I've had people in my videos that I've had to tell what to do and where to go, and it's not easy to no. You know, it's like you got to boss them around, and you gotta be loud about it. So
I'm a terrible director. Like, I am gonna give you a line reading because I don't know how to tell you otherwise. And a good director shouldn't do that. Okay. I'll be like, well, you should say it like this. That's all I really know. I don't know what your intent is. But it should sound like this, because when I wrote it,
this is how I want it to sound. Do it. Well, I mean, you know,
I have to. Go ahead. No, please.
Oh no, please.
Well, I've gotten very lucky in that my cameraman, director of photography, his name is Jamie Hobart. He really co-directed all the episodes starting when he started on episode 9 and just didn't take credit. So he will be behind the camera and like say to me like, hey, it'd be great if this happened. Or don't you think this would be funny if they did this? And I'd be like, yes. Like, you say it, tell them, it's fine. Like, yeah. So it's not just me that makes it good.
It's a team. It's interesting to me that you said editing second, because the editing, the writing, the acting, and the editing, I think those are so important. Like the edit, I never understood that when I was younger, and you would watch the Oscars and they're like, and the Oscar for editing. And you're like, editing? What?
Yeah.
But now that I make content online, it's so important. It'll make or break a scene, especially for you, because it's all like zing, bang, waka, waka, you know.
That's how I would pitch it too. So what's your show like? It's like zing, bang, waka, waka. Sold.
Sign here.
2024.
I was actually wondering, because it's so well edited. And then when I saw that you do the editing, I was like even more impressed, because I know that's a whole skill set on its own.
Yeah.
Not as glamorous as the writing or acting, maybe, because it's very behind the scenes and more technical and stuff, but equally as important.
I don't know. I mean, you said acting, writing, editing. I would also throw good sound person in there, because I think good sound makes or breaks a video as well, more than like how it looks. But the editor can do whatever the bleep they want. Can I swear? I don't know. To make this thing, okay? To make the show what it is. How many times have you seen like online where they like take a horror trailer and edit it to look like a romantic comedy or something like that?
Yeah.
That is something you can do. Yeah. So when you said with the show, the zing, zang, waka, waka, it's like, it's true, because the pacing is so important. As the writer, I know like it has to have this rhythm, or the comedy isn't going to happen. So the editor is the one responsible for that. You could say it's the actors, and granted they have to get the right speed out when they're saying the line. But I'll tell you what, I will when I'm editing, I will speed up a clip so that they'll say it faster and tweak it so that you don't know it's been sped up. And that's an editor, again, just pulling his little strings to create the right rhythm. So I don't know. It's putting the puzzle together. It's a lot of fun. Personally,
and you as like the puppet master, I mean, you wrote it, so you know how you want it to come out. So the editing, your editing, I can see that it would be maybe more difficult to write it and have that in your mind how you want it to be, and then hand it over to an editor.
Yes,
somebody who knows you and you've worked with, they know who you are, they know what you want. Okay, yes, but they got to learn how you want it, because you said they can change the whole essence of the scene.
And I think there are plenty of great editors out there. It's just that I'm making a web series on my own. So I don't know a bunch of editors that I can call up and be like, hey, will you edit my show? Like, I don't have that. So if I was in the world of big budget, I'm sure there'd be like a dozen editors, more than a dozen, but like plenty of editors that could take it and edit it the same way I would, or make it even better, of course. But
even
with my limited world, I would rather be in control of it because it's my baby.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, I do. Let's talk about Sorry, I'm Weird.
Okay.
This is a series you got on YouTube. The characters you say are in the episode, they're a little bit off, or they're dealing with somebody who is.
Yeah.
But I would say that all of your characters are a little bit off or dealing with somebody who is. So I don't know.
It's no different.
It's kind of the same. How did the concept for Sorry, I'm Weird come about?
Okay, well, you kind of called me out on it. So what happened is when I wrapped the first season of Bad Boy, I was like, I want to make some like individual shorts, something that's easier to shoot. Like other YouTubers, oh my God, they have a short every week and they act opposite themselves and they're like 2 minutes long. Like, I got to try that. So I did, but me being as, I don't know, organizational as I am, once I'd written and shot like 8 of them, I was like, okay, now they have to have a theme. So I looked at them all. I'm like, well, what is the theme here? And there really wasn't one, except that characters would be either weird or dealing with someone that is. So I was like, I'll just call it. And there was an episode, which I ended up not releasing. It was where the character kept saying, oh, sorry, I'm weird. Sorry, I'm weird. So I was like, oh, it's a great title for this sketch series. But it was really just meant to be like, oh, I'm just going to make like YouTube shorts now, like throwaways, you know? And then I gave up on that because I'm too anal about it.
So the Sorry I'm Weird episodes are like 4 minutes, 5 minutes.
Yeah, they're short. Just like the very first Bad Boy, which was just an individual short. It's basically a sketch.
Do you find it easier to write shorter or longer?
Longer. I always have too much to say and too much to write. Personally, I'm that guy like back in elementary school or junior high, whenever you had yearbooks, like I would write like a page to people. And they're like,
take up all the space.
It's like, why are you? I don't know you. I'm like, I just have a lot to say.
I barely know you. My real friends haven't signed this yet. Like, what are you expecting?
It all comes out. I'm not very talkative in my everyday life, but when I'm writing, like lots of stuff comes out. So yeah, long form is my favorite.
Yeah. Have you written like a movie? Is that something you would want to do?
No, I really want to. But then but then I just ended up making a second season of Bad Boy. And I was like, well, I guess I don't have time for that now. So.
Well, that seems like a whole other animal, like a whole like feature.
Yeah.
That's
but
something you want to do.
I mean, this sounds like the Artie talks good about himself session. I don't want that. But the point is, there's been positive feedback to the writing, and I didn't consider myself a writer until Bad Boy became a thing. And that made me think, oh, well, if you actually have a skill you didn't realize you had, you should try to channel more energy into that. Thus, write a feature, write a pilot.
Yes.
See if anything happens with that. I just haven't sat down to do it yet because I'm still so involved with my own YouTube stuff.
Yeah. Well, you write a feature, guest starring Patrick Marano, and Bing Bang Zangazoom. You know?
I mean, this is literally how Bad Boy started. Is that there was a guy I met at a play who wanted to make a short for his demo reel. And I'm like, okay, what kind of character do you want to play? He's like, I want to play like a bad boy. And I said, do you want it to be comedic or serious? He's like, a comedic. So I wrote a comedic sketch called Bad Boy, and here I am. 6 years later. Yeah. So if you tell me what's the kind of character you want to play, what are you looking for? I can write something for you.
I will tell you that. Yeah, I'll give it some thought. I'll let you know, and then we'll be next thing you know, right? Yeah, that's how it happens.
You do acting too?
Yeah,
yeah.
I went to the School for Film and Television in New York.
Yeah.
I did theater in high school. Then after I moved to LA, I was like, so I lived in LA for a while. I'm going to be an actor. But I got into the adult industry, but you know, I got into the adult industry and I did that for a few years. But it's always been, I'm a performer.
Yeah. You love to be you know, there's two kinds of people in the world, the ones that entertain and the ones that observe.
Yes. No, it's true.
So you are an entertainer across the board.
That's right. I don't even consume content online. Like I create content. I'm just
Same. People ask me, so what other gay YouTubers do you watch? And I'm like,
No.
oh.
Patrick.
I do actually. I mean, I don't go searching for it. YouTube will recommend something, and of course, if the thumbnail or the title is good, you click on it. And yeah, I watched several of yours for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You were talking about funny, so I have a theory.
the subject was funny.
The subject is funny. Let's discuss. Go. I have a theory that funny people are actually some of the darkest people. So, do you have a dark side, and can we see it?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. I think people are drawn towards comedy once they experience things that aren't so bright and cheery in their lives, you know? Not that I had a terrible childhood, but I was not the popular kid growing up. And I was that kid that would consider sitcom characters my friends. And I would tape them all. Like I taped Golden Girls when I was a kid and just would watch them constantly and still do. So I think when you are dealing with your own depression or feelings of, you know, lack of self-worth or anything like that, you are drawn towards comedy. And then some people learn how to make it into comedy, you know, make their own. And I think that's, I don't know. I tell my friends this all the time, that all I'm ever trying to do is make them laugh. And I usually don't, or they'll just think I'm being a dick because I like make something to make fun of them. And they're like, you're so mean. I'm like, I'm being funny.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, whoops. So I also blame that on the Golden Girls because all they did was make fun of each other and it got huge laughs. So
that's true.
Training. Yeah.
I tend to, I make people laugh too, but my way of doing it is by saying those inappropriate things that you're not supposed to say.
Yeah.
It's a company of people that you shouldn't be saying it. So it's really crossing the line all the time.
You like the little shock value of it.
Yeah. Like everyone's maybe thinking it, but you never would say it. And then that's exactly what I'm going to say. You know?
And that makes you laugh
more.
Yeah. That makes you laugh. That makes you, that's comedy to you.
Which then makes them laugh. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So to answer your question, yes, I would say I'm not, I don't know. My dad was depressed. I have definitely dealt with depression and anxiety and all those sorts of things. And I feel like they only get, they're stronger demons to battle the older you get. And so I think you lean into comedy more to keep you, I don't know, to keep the light going. So does that answer your question?
Well, this episode would be way better if you could just cry a little bit. So let's take that again. I'm going to ask it again and then just kind of cry a little. I'm just kidding. I
would hope you're kidding.
Comedy people, I find, are good at dramatic acting, but it doesn't go the other way all the time.
Yeah.
If somebody's good at drama, they're not necessarily a good comedian, you know, whereas comedians seem to be able to do drama. So I don't know what they can
because I think comedy is an extra skill on top of being an actor. Like I think dramatic acting is like the baseline, and it's like, oh, can you also do comedy? So if you can do comedy, it's a given that you can do drama because you understand character and pacing and rhythm and dialogue and listening, which is so important with comedy. That's why. But a dramatic actor might not understand the extra comedic rhythms that come into play.
That's true.
Yeah. Is that boring?
I'll cut that out. Don't worry.
Okay.
So let's talk. Oh, you are also the co-creator and co-star of the short-form comedy series Successful People, which we talked about a little bit before. Yes. But what I want to know is there's obviously pros and cons of being like a co-creator and a co-writer on a project like that versus like a project like Bad Boy, where it's just you and it's your baby.
Yeah.
What are the pros and cons of being a co-creator or going it on your own?
I much prefer writing on my own. That's a personal choice. Some people have to have like a co-writer to like bounce ideas off of. Yeah. And I'm not a person that can like sit and write. I did that with Teresa. I also did that on a previous web series called How to Get Featured on Deadline. And I just didn't enjoy it. Like I like sitting and letting my brain take over and write. But the con of that is like, if you don't have a partner that's like, hey, let's do this, or I've got this thing covered, you know, just someone else to help carry the burden. Yeah. I wish I had that frequently, especially with Bad Boy, because it's so much work. And sometimes I just wish I had someone to be like, I got this part. And
I don't know how you do it, honestly. Just keep churning it out. Like,
now I'm gonna cry because I don't know how I do it either. It's so hard.
I mean, what I do is nothing compared to what you do. I just turn on the camera and talk about things that I already have in my brain. A little bit of editing on iMovie and stuff, and I have trouble keeping up. So, you know,
do you just wing it? Do you wing it when you do your videos, or do you kind of like outline what you're gonna say?
No, I outline it, and sometimes there's parts that are scripty, and then there's like ad-libby parts, because I find more naturalness and comedy and those little gem moments come out in the ad-libby parts. Versus the writing, because I'm not a writer like you, not yet anyway.
And I don't let my actors ad lib. Typically,
like a nightmare to work with. No, poor Teresa. No, I just feel like, it's just churning out the content and you being responsible for everything. You know, the fact that you've been able to keep this ship going for, you know, this long, at the quality and at that standard, it's a lot. You've got to sit down, you have to write it, you get the ideas, you need to contact everyone. Hey, even just the scheduling. When are you available? Can you come? Where's the so-and-so? Oh, they're on their way. Okay, set up the light. Like, I know, I get it. Like, I get it, you know.
That was so nice to hear. Yeah, it's nice to hear someone understand exactly what goes into all of it. Thank you for that. Because especially the coordinating, that's my least favorite part of it all, is trying to herd these cats into one room on the same day. Near impossible.
Yeah. And all we see is the finished product. So we like click on it, we watch 10, 12 minutes, we're like, ha, 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 leave a like, maybe a comment, and then we're on to the next thing. Meanwhile, for you, this has been like...
Not that I expect everyone watching the episode to be like, oh, he worked for so hard on this. You know, obviously it's meant to just be the finished product and they don't think of it. But sometimes it does hurt when someone's like, oh, the story should be like this. Or why isn't this character doing this? And I'm just like, you write your own then. Like, if you have so many thoughts about it, you know, I can get a little bitchy about it. But no.
Well, I get it.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a Sophie's Choice. Okay.
Jesus.
I know. All right. Bad Boy, Sorry I'm Weird, or Successful People. Only one can survive. Which one is it and why?
Okay, well, Sorry I'm Weird is immediately gone. That's a tough call, but I'm going to have to say Bad Boy because it's kind of changed my life in a not that extreme way. Like, it's the thing that actually became popular. Successful People was never popular, and it's connected me to like a whole world of fans online, and it's something I can do and survive off of. So I would choose it for that reasons. Yes, and I think it's a great show. I choose Bad Boy. I need to be more
final answer. Okay.
Final answer, Bad Boy.
Oh,
I just give the answer and not explain my answer. That was a long.
No. I need the explanation. That's why.
Okay. Yeah. I hemmed and hawed because Successful People was like a passion project between me and Teresa. We really put our hearts and souls into that thing. Not that I don't do that for Bad Boy, but we basically wanted to write about being struggling actors, but not have it be about actors. So we made it be about struggling songwriters. But we put a lot of our own personal lives into that series.
So poor Teresa, you're just going to throw out all of that work. That she did, her heart and soul.
Massachusetts, like bygones. She's out. I'm just kidding.
Whatever. Out with the old, in with the new. Okay. No, I hear you. It's funny because sometimes like what you've done at the beginning can be very like heartstringy and emotional for you because that's where like you kind of started. It's funny to see what catches and what doesn't.
Yeah. Oh, it's fascinating. Well, I never expected this in a million years. Like, you know. Especially because it's algorithm stuff. Like, you don't know what YouTube is going to do to your videos. It's only gotten harder. It doesn't matter if your subscriber base grows. Like, it's harder and harder to get views still. So
it is.
I'm always surprised. I never think anyone's going to show up for the next one. I'm never in it. Yeah.
Well, and I hate that you're only as good as your last video. I hope not, because like, you know.
That I don't agree with. I don't think the viewership dictates how good the product is at all.
I agree.
Yeah.
I've looked back on videos of mine that have low views, and I'm like, this is really cute, you know?
Yeah.
Or like, that was a really great video, and I made some really good points. And then another video that has all these views, and I'm like, I mean, it's good, but it's equal or, not much better than the
What
other.
was the difference then? Was it probably the thumbnail or something, or the subject matter? Or?
Well, I don't know, Artie. You tell me, because if you can
I
explain
said thumbnail.
to me,
Thumbnail.
I take my shirt off, I oil up, I'm trying to do it all. Click on it,
Yeah.
click on it.
And then sometimes if you release it too soon to the other one, it'll kill your other one, but then not recommend the new one. It's like there's no real rhyme or reason, because I think it's their algorithm is constantly changing and learning and doing its own stuff. Point is, you can't think too much about that. I get that it's a business and you need to be focused on analytics and audience and all that, but at the end of the day, you're doing this because you want to do it and it makes you happy to do it. So focus on that 90% of the time.
I'm not. I'm actually being forced to do it by my partner, who holds a gun to my head every day. No, I'm kidding. Imagine.
You pan the camera over.
You will make content. It's just off camera. You do it because you love it. Yeah, that's right. I love it. No, I do love it. And I wouldn't want to do anything else. Like the fact that we can make our own schedules and be we can be creative, and support our lifestyles and whatever.
And I'm also happy to do it for like an underserved gay audience, because the gay audience is still underserved, especially with quality content or something. I don't know. That isn't just the same old, same old. So I think about that whenever I get tired of it. I think about the response I've gotten from people, or what it might mean to someone else. Not like, oh my God, this means so much to me, but like in terms of just having something to watch that speaks to who they are as a person. Yeah, I think that's important enough to keep doing it.
Did you look at me when you said same old, same old?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Your point about content and queer stuff, like I'm building my queer library. Like I'm reading books. Yeah. And thank you.
You're way too far.
Thank you. And so I'm building like a queer library of like books, like by queer authors or queer stories and everything. And I just feel like I can relate to them, obviously. And I just feel more connected to I feel represented in the stories. And so, having you online, I can see myself in some of the characters. I can laugh at it. I can be, you know what I mean? It has that kind of importance. It is.
Yes. I should start reading books. At least queer books.
I'll tell you, it's not that bad.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
You don't just fall asleep like after the first page?
Well, I do. So I do, like, so before I go to bed, I lie there and for like an hour I read, and that's my 1 hour of reading.
That's brilliant. In all honesty, like I do like to read. I used to read a lot more, but I never thought like actually fixating on trying to grow my queer library the way you have. That's very smart. Do you ever like post like book recommendations, or have you done a video about that?
Should I?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's going to get a lot of views, like read these books. But then again,
if I'm naked doing it, maybe. I don't know. See, that's my default. It's like, just take your shirt off and do it.
Yeah, it does work.
Yeah. Like your bad boy characters, just take off your shirt.
I mean, I do have to plan ahead now to be like, okay, what is the thumbnail that I'm going to want? Make sure I write a scene that involves that in the episode, because it makes a difference. And I want people to watch it at the end of the day. You know?
Yeah, for sure. I don't like, and at the top of this conversation with you, I talked about how there's two things. There's drag and there's sex. Not unfortunately, but I do tend to sort of fall into the sex category. So that's why I feel like I know what I'm talking about when I say that you fill out this other sort of zone that is underserved.
Yeah, because there are no drag queens in this series. Not for any particular reason, except I'm not sure why they would show up at Scott's house, the character I play. And then the sex part is more like, I don't know, cheeky, wink, wink, flirtatious. It's not very explicit. It's more for comedy purposes. Yeah. And also a little titillating, of course, because we all want to see hot guys. I get that.
Well,
yeah. The bottom line is I just want to make a fun sitcom. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, you did it.
Thanks. Still doing it. Still doing it. It's a long road ahead. I'm looking at like this mountain of work I've got to do, and this year has been sort of tough. So, but I'm still doing it. Yeah.
I'm going to do a little left turn here because I grew up watching soap operas. So when I heard that you had a recurring on General Hospital, I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
And that your recent appearance, you said, earned you a Soap Hub's Performer of the Week. Is that an award?
No, it's like an online. I don't know if it was in Soap Opera Digest or whoever publishes. It might have been in that. I'm sure I put in my bio what it was, but it's like every week this soap magazine picks like the performer of the week from whatever show. And for the week that I was on this General Hospital, my last time, I got the Soap Hub Performer of the Week. I'm like, oh my God. Like usually they'll pick like series regulars, like characters that are on the show all the time.
Oh.
This guest star that was blessed with this kind thing. But it was a really fun, the character I play is like a bartender at whatever the restaurant is that's on General Hospital. I forget right now. The bar that they always go to. And
he's Performer of the Week.
I know
the bar you work at
spread out over time. I'm forgetting Port Charles. Is that what it's called?
Oh, I don't know. I was a young and a restless kid.
Okay, good. So my character though is a bartender who's also an actor. So 3 different times he's been like hired to like do things for characters on the show. So this last time, the character asked me to like pretend to be like this tough like gangster guy, but he's really kind of bad at it. So I got to play basically a comedic part on General Hospital, which I don't think is that common, and I think it made it stand out, and then thus this kind honor from this soap opera.
Performer of the Week.
Performer of the Week, baby.
That's just that week though, like not the week before, not the next day.
And I haven't been back since. So
maybe that's the kiss of death.
Yeah, maybe so.
That's how they get rid of you. They're like, and here's a performer of the week, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh Lord, I want to know. Well, obviously you're still working on your Bad Boy stuff.
Yeah.
Is there something else in the works? Or what's next for you?
In terms of making my own stuff, it's just Bad Boy because I did this whole season 2 fundraiser. So I need to finish my season 2, which is going to take like at least a year and a half is what I'm thinking. But otherwise I just still audition and, you know, go out for stuff on my own. And I want to still be an actor as well. But like we mentioned, like writing a movie or something like that. Yeah, I want to do that. I'm very bad about delegating time. Like I'm all in whatever's in front of me. So if I'm writing, I'll get like obsessed with writing and do it for like 12 hours a day. Yeah. And everyone says, don't do that. Like dedicate 3 hours for this, 20 minutes for this. And yes. Are you like that? Are you good at like having a set?
100%. Whatever I'm doing, that's all I'm doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awful.
I can't concentrate on anything else. Like it's just, that's what I'm doing. And all my focus is there. It's very compartmentalized.
Yes. But then it's hard for me to break out of it. Like, okay, take a break or call it a day. I'm like, well, if I go for another hour, then I'll have this much more work done. Yeah. You know, it's not the healthiest way to work.
I don't know. Well, it seems to be working for you. Maybe you need to start reading, maybe.
Truly, though. Truly.
Right.
I mean, I get stuff done. But then it's like when a project is done, I think, oh God, I have to do that again. Like I burn myself out doing that because I don't moderate. It's a personal thing, you know. If anyone knows how to moderate, please tell me how, because everyone's like, "Oh, you just make a schedule." I'm like, no,
right? You just make a schedule.
People are dicks.
People are assholes. I feel like you got a good thing going because at least you know the writing is amazing. You're surrounded by a great cast. You love to edit.
Yeah.
So I mean, at least you got all that going.
I fully agree. I've been really, for lack of a better word, blessed in terms of making the show because of the people and how things have really worked out. I told you before this, I feel like there's a little magic involved when you make something. And there have been times where something looks like it's all going to fall apart and something else will immediately come in that's even better and saves the day. That's happened 5, 6, 7, 8 times making the show. So I don't know. It's kind of that thing. There's that quote where it's like, hey, I'm going to paraphrase, but it's something like, if you decide to go for something, the universe will conspire to help you achieve it. Something like that. It sounds very new agey, but it's like, if you're actually putting the work in.
Phrase. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
You said that's a terrible phrase. Is that what you said?
Yes, I did. No. Paraphrase. I think it's the universe is conspiring to my benefit.
Yeah.
In my favor.
But you have to be like putting the work in too. Like it's like if you are working,
you gotta work.
You can't just sit on the couch and be like, the universe has got this.
Yeah, he's got it. They're conspiring. Okay. Oh, you gotta work.
Like if you make up your mind, like this is what I want, it's kind of like what people say to write down your goals. You know, they say writing it down is what's going to help you make it happen. I think it's like, okay, if you put your intent towards it, somehow things work out.
Okay.
And I've seen that to be true.
I'm going to go write on my whiteboard.
Yeah.
Artie is going to write a feature, and it's going to have me in it. So,
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, truly.
And then the universe will conspire, right? That's how it works.
I feel like
That's how it works.
I feel like you could be on Bad Boy is what I was going to say. I feel like you would fit right into the world.
Okay. Well, I would die. That would be such an honor.
Really?
You don't have to say that just because you're on my podcast right now. And then as soon as we disconnect, you're like, what a loser.
I'm not. I'm looking at you. I'm like, you would totally be a family member, like hands down.
I love
Don't you think? Yeah.
Yes. Artie, I'm already booking my flight. Yeah.
I'm actually thinking like creatively right now. I'm like, oh, he actually kind of looks. You have like a bit of a Jonas thing, like a Nick Jonas thing in a way, like right. And there's a whole running theme in the show about like how the original character looked like Nick Jonas allegedly, and then his dad sort of looked like Nick Jonas, and I'm like, who could he be? This is the magic. Yeah, it is. This is when you ask me about how I write characters. This is kind of how it happens, and then
oh my God, it's happening live.
It really is. So I think, well, what if he's this person? And that could happen, you know? This is the best part, is coming up with like, when you feel like the flower grow inside your brain, you're like, oh my God, that'd be great. The sitting down and actually turning into a script is the crappy part. But
yeah.
Well,
that's the work.
Yeah, the work is the bad part. Exactly.
Yeah. I told you. The work is the
work sucks.
The universe.
Universe. Yeah.
Artie, thank you so much for coming.
Oh my God.
This has been an absolute pleasure and a joy to have you on. Like, honestly, we could just chat forever, but I'm going to let you go because you need to write me a part. Right. Is there anything you want to say? Any parting words of wisdom for my audience?
For your audience? Well, thank you for supporting queer creators and queer content. I mean, if they're watching your video, that means they're supportive. So just keep doing that. Truly.
They are. I'm going to put all of your socials, all of your links, everything down in the description below for my audience to get in touch with you, watch, follow, like, subscribe, do all of that stuff. Yes, if they haven't seen Bad Boy. Oh yeah, and Patreon too. Yes, and there's I mentioned before there was like a sketch I didn't release. It's over there. There's lots of exclusives and it's very interactive. Oh, sweet. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you, Patrick. And for my audience, the rest of you, I will see you in the next episode of Queerly Us.